Okay, so we start by paying respect to the Buddha. We chant Namo Tassa together 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Now I was saying that I'll start with a little bit of history about myself, because many of you here probably don't know me. I was working in JKR and stationed in the Batu Sembilan, the army camp from 1975 to 1980. So some old members like our brother Chia Abun, or Chong Chiu, Dato here will know me. And after that I was posted back to the KR headquarters, 80 to 82, then end of 82 I resigned. A lot of people were surprised I resigned because they offered me another promotion. And I thought, this is Mara's trick, trying to catch me. So I didn't go off. So still I went off. At first I went to America, became a novice monk under Master Shen Hua in America. I stayed with him 3 years. At the end of 3 years I was totally disappointed. Like the Buddha said, you don't know a person unless you associate with him for a long time. And then you are also very observant. Then only slowly you will know his character. So I came back totally devastated. Somebody you followed for 9 years, 6 years as a layman, 3 years as a monk. And it was not easy staying there. When I went to America at the end of 1982, we organized a big group, people from Kuantan, from Pahang, from KL, all over the place, Penang, that big group. And some of them also, like me, wanted to renounce. So they stayed back. But within a month, all of them ran off back to Malaysia. Because life there was very tough. We get up about 3 o'clock in the morning and we do chanting. Then as a novice monk, I had to bow, chanting about 1 hour, and I had to bow repentance 1 hour. And about 7 something, without breakfast, no coffee, no tea, no breakfast, start working on an empty stomach. I worked until 10 something. Then 11 o'clock, I got to go and sound the big bell and hit the big drum. Dum, 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 dum. And then after that I was away now, did the chanting. 10, 11 something we eat, 11:30. 1 meal only, vegetarian meal. After that, if you think you want to rest, they go and call you, cannot rest. Work again, work until about 4, 5 o'clock. After that, go and do chanting, this repentance, at this, Chan Hui. Repentance again, buying repentance 1 hour. Then after that, meditation. And then after that, chanting. Evening chanting, 1 cup. Then after that, Dhamma talk. That place, how many acres? 273 acres. Less than 10 men less than 10 men looking after. In the ladies' side, about 20. So the ladies do all the office work, all the heavy work the men have to do. And then the time is a new monastery, have to plant all the, it's the master will order apple saplings, small trees we have to plant. And this American monk would drive the tractor, dig the ground to plant. Bamboo he ordered, don't know from China or from Taiwan, big bamboo we have to plant. Orange trees we have to plant. Sometimes something wrong with the water, we have to go and repair the pipe. Electricity, we have to repair. Whole day working. Then by the time we listen to the Dhamma talk at night, the men, and you go to the bathroom, no room for you to take a bath, and all open GI style. Have to bathe naked. I'm not used to it, very uncomfortable. And then 9 something, everything over. There's only 2 times you can take a bath, either before 7 o'clock, you take a bath, or 9 something, 10 o'clock when you take a bath. Whole day you are working. And then at night when you sleep, supposed to sit and sleep. You cannot, so you just sit until you are so tired, you will just fall asleep. But you don't have that willpower, you cannot do it. But we are new, we are so honest, so straightforward. We sit in the hall. Few of us now, with our back to the wall. Sit, jaga pintu.
Is there a rule that you cannot lie down and sleep?
Not in the monk's rule. This one is the teacher. But he never joined us. Sit like that. Go back to his room to sleep. We eat 1 meal a day. So, a lot of other stories to tell. Some very shameful. I almost cannot believe. Eventually I came back, then luckily I had that faith in the Buddha. I cannot disrobe. So I came back very disappointed. If I tell my story to people, people won't believe me, because he's famous. I'm nobody. And purposely make me disrobe, so when I come back, lagi, people won't believe me. So I came back, then I suspected something wrong with Mahayana Dhamma. I wanted to go to Thailand, but I didn't know where to go. I couldn't speak Thai. I didn't know anything about the system. Don't know where is a good monastery to go. So I went to Penang to look up Wen Chen Faster. Wen Chen Faster is one of the Mahayana monks I knew quite well as a layman, and he quite liked me. So I went to see him, and because he knows me from before, many years, he asked me to go to Keloksi temple to ordain at the time, end of 1985, they had the higher ordination. So I thought, I want to go to Thailand, but I don't know where to go, so I might as well ordain first in Mahayana, because I don't want to go back home. So I ordained there. And after staying a few months in that Bong Fu Se, Ang Hock Si, there was in Thailand at that time, there was an Ajahn Yantra who was very famous. So there was a Samanera who disrobed, wanted to go to Thailand. Then I went with him. Stayed with that famous monk. But after a while I left because it's too famous. 300 monks from a monastery will come and visit, stay for a few days after they go. Later I hear another 400 monks coming, so I left. I went to find a Teochew monk who used to stay in Ipoh cave for 25 years. I knew him, so I went to see him. So he told me, you are ordained as a Mahayana monk, and you are staying in Thailand in Theravada robes. You can get into trouble. They say you are a fake monk. So he brought me to ordain in Petburi. After that, my first Vasa, rains retreat, I went to Wat Pananachat because I was recommended by an American monk. When I was in America, one American monk, Ajahn Chah's disciple, he came back to visit the mother. So he stayed in the city of 10,000 Buddhas for a week or two. And then he recommended me to go to Wat Pananachat, International Forest Monastery, where most of the monks are Westerners. Almost all are Westerners, and they speak English. So I went there for my first Vasa. That's a place where Ananda Krishnan's son often goes. So I spent my first Vasa there. After that, I went to stay with some Teochew monks. This monk who stayed in Ipoh is a Teochew monk. So I stayed in his cave monastery. Then after that, after 1 year, I came back because of visa problem. Then I decided I want to practice like the Buddha's time. Went to Ipoh, looked for a cave. I stayed in a dark cave for 4 months. If you listen to my Dhamma talks, you will know I had some experience with some devas there. After that, I went to Penang. I stayed in a cave on Penang Hill for 7 years. I also went to stay in Balik Pulau in the orchards up the hill for a year, different places. So, about 10 years I was staying alone. So after 10 years staying alone, I decided to start a forest monastery because I found that the town monastery, you can't really practice. People always come and want to talk, want to ask questions, want to bring their home problems for you to solve. The son is a drug addict, want you to solve. Daughter got gone down, want you to solve. So we started this forest monastery in Dhamma, which is between Tapa and Kampa, 1998. So now 19 years. Started with 15 acres, now it's 20 acres. We have a Sangha of 4 monks all together. Okay, so that's a little bit of history about me now. If you have any questions, we can start. Anything at all, you can ask.
Gompo. And Gompo, explain what is Gompo. What?
Actually, you can call a monk Bhante. Bhante means venerable sir. That was what was used during the Buddha's time. Okay, but because I follow the Thai tradition, one of my disciples said we're going to follow at Wat Pananachat. In Wat Pananachat, the junior monks are called Tan. Tan, T-H-A-N. And then if you have 10 vasas or more ordained 10 years already, you call it Achan. Achan, it comes from the Pali word Acharya, which means teacher. And then if you're old, like me, you're called a Longpo. Longpo means Sifu, venerable father. Okay, any other question?
Just like I was told the monks, if not all the parents, Ma and Pa, is it true that your kids will not be able to call you mother?
No. It's not mentioned anywhere in the suttas or Vinaya. Then I wanted to become a monk, and I told my mother. Mother was very sad. She said, wait until I go off. And I thought, her mother passed away about 100 years old. If I wait so long, my enthusiasm also died down. When I told my father, his eyes got red. He said, people got no money, no job, bankrupt, no way already, then they become a monk. You got such a good job, why you want to become a monk? Because he couldn't understand. I didn't say any more to him now because isolated already. Well, after that, 6 months or so, I will tell my mother that one day I will go off. Then after I became a monk, I came back to see her, and I was very happy. Then I asked her, is there anything you want, anything I can get for you? She said, I don't need anything, only I want to see you only. So because I was the last son, the last child. She used to tell people, Lai Chai, Lai San Kon. So I decided, if I see her too often, she cannot let go. So I decided at least every 6 months I'll come and see her. So eventually she passed away. And then also about 100 years old. And luckily, after I became a monk, I gave Dhamma talks and the CDs and all that. My sister played for her. She learned something. Start to let go. Any other thing?
If you would like to write down if you can.
No, talk better, speak better. Yes.
Like when you read you mentioned about 4 contributions.
Yes.
Body, feeling, mind, and Dhamma.
Yes.
So later we read that to the end, let's say it's not body, nothing to stop. You can be enlightened in 7 years. Not 7 years, 7 months, 7 weeks, or even 1 week. So my question is, you get in the Satipatthana. So contribution, which should we do is it in all or what is it not?
To become enlightened. In 7 days.
Super express.
So he wants to know, the Buddha said, if you practice Satipatthana, you can be enlightened in 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, 7 months, etc., down to 7 days. A lot of people, because they are not familiar with the suttas, even monks, a lot of monks, they think Sati and Satipatthana is the same. Sati and Satipatthana is not the same. Sati is contemplating the 4 things, body, feelings, mind, and Dhamma. Okay? The nature of your feelings, thoughts, etc. Satipatthana to me can be translated as intense state of sati. Intense state. The reason is when you practice sati, you can practice all these 4, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 at any time. In fact, this sati is to be practiced not during meditation, but in everyday life. Because, for example, in meditation, you don't have anger, you don't have grief, real grief. But in everyday life, if your son passes away, how much grief you have? If somebody makes you angry, then your reaction is something that you don't get in meditation. So they like to say, during meditation, you see anicca, dukkha, anatta, you cannot see. But Satipatthana, I say, is intense state of sati, because if you study the Satipatthana Samyutta in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha wanted us to understand how to practice Satipatthana. So he gave a simile of the most beautiful girl in the country. She came up and the people saw, and they clapped their hands and shouted, the most beautiful girl in the country. And then when other people heard, more people came up, clap and then asked her to sing and dance. So she sang and danced and more people came to see her. Then the Buddha said, an ordinary fellow came along. And then they caught this ordinary fellow and told him, now you carry this bowl of oil that is filled to the brim. This bowl that is filled to the brim with oil. And we will walk behind you. You have to walk between the crowd of people looking at the beautiful girl singing and dancing. And we will hold a long sword behind you. If you spill even one drop of the oil, you will cut off your head. So the Buddha says, this man walking with a bowl of oil, does he dare to look left or right? Does he dare to look at the beautiful girl? He pays all his attention on the oil because his life depends on it. The Buddha said that is how you practice Satipatthana. Mindfulness directed to the body. It is not ordinary mindfulness, it is intense mindfulness. And then in the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha says, when you practice Anapanasati and you have unremitting mindfulness of your breath, mindfulness that does not go away, all concentrated on your breath, that unremitting mindfulness is Satipatthana. So also there's another sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya. The Buddha said, if a person practices Satipatthana and the end result, he does not attain Samadhi, does not attain the jhanas, he is not practicing Satipatthana. He is practicing the wrong way and he does not have Sati Sampajanya. So the end result of practicing Satipatthana, you must attain jhana. That is why Venerable Anuruddha was asked, Bhante, your psychic power is so great because Venerable Anuruddha, his mind can open up so wide that he can see 1,000 world systems in the palm of his hand. His mind has opened up infinite. So they asked him, what did you practice to attain such great psychic power? He said, Satipatthana. So Satipatthana is the basis, is what you practice to attain Samadhi. That's why in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 43, it is said that Satipatthana is the basis of Samadhi.
When we believe any one of the contemplation you attain,
the one that the Buddha taught to attain Samadhi is mindfulness of the breath. Only one object, you have to contemplate only one object. That one is only when the person attains one-pointedness of mind. When he attains the jhanas, then he sees his feelings change. He develops delight. Then he develops bliss. Then you have bodily bliss. You have mental bliss. All these states, changing states of feelings, he notices because his mind is one-pointed. And then the perceptions change. He also notices. The mind changing, he also notices. So you start with one. When the others change, inside Samadhi, he notices. It doesn't mean when you are in Samadhi, you don't know anything, Later books like the Visuddhi Magga, their jhana is different from the Sutta jhana. Like now, some teacher, their Samadhi, if they see the light, they only see the light. They don't know other states. But in the Buddha's Samadhi, when you enter the jhanas, you are very mindful. You are never as mindful as when you are in jhana. That's why it's called a perfect concentration.
So that means that Satipatthana we can just contemplate body. That means the feeling Ordinary mind and Dhamma comes only.
That is sati. If you practice the others in normal, everyday life, it's sati.
I mean, during meditation.
During meditation, you should only practice to attain. You should only practice samatha meditation because in the Majjhima Nikaya, remember Ananda was asked what type of meditation is praised by the Buddha. He said the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. Only this is Buddhist meditation. Vipassana meditation was created later because Vipassana is not a meditation. Vipassana is something you practice in everyday life.
Okay, I was asking just now, you refer to feeling is you mentioned that when there is one consciousness of mind, then the person has only noticed the changes in feeling. How about for mind and Dhamma?
Yeah, you also notice.
That means that the person needs to develop one consciousness of mind first.
In everyday life, before you attain jhana, you can contemplate these four things. But when you are in jhana, you can also contemplate these four things. But the difference is that when you are not in jhana, you can contemplate, you can think about it. But in jhana, you cannot think. You only notice, especially in the second jhana onwards, it is called the state of the Aryan silence. Because in the second jhana, you cannot think. The mind is so strong, you cannot think. You can only be aware. That is real bare attention. If you haven't attained the second jhana, you cannot really practice bare attention. The Vipassana, they always like to talk about bare attention. It is not possible unless you attain second jhana. Because in everyday life, the ordinary mind, when you notice something, the mind will start thinking. Yeah.
I just have a question. For reading and trying to apply, I'm just a bit confused in the sense that, okay, like you're supposed to contemplate and understand how to apply the four noble truths.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I will find that in the text, there are also specific antidotes for certain hindrances.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, on one hand, there's a need to understand suffering, the origin and all that. But on the other hand, there's antidotes being prescribed for specific hindrances.
Mm-hmm.
So, could Bhante clarify this?
How are they related?
Say, for instance, if we say the skill will, okay, should one actually just apply metta to get rid of the ill will? Or should one understand the origin of the ill will as a suffering, the grasping of the things that say a person did that causes suffering, understanding that grasping is actually the cause of suffering, and then by letting go, then one can actually no longer need suffering.
That if you listen to the suttas already tell you that. Okay? So you don't have to convince yourself about that. But what the sutta tells you to do is practice right effort. And right effort is to get rid of unwholesome states and don't allow unwholesome states to develop if they have not developed. And then to cultivate wholesome states if they have not developed. And if they have developed, then to prolong it, maintain it. Okay. So when unwholesome states start, like anger, then you must know that you have anger or you have a lot of anger. Then you have to try to change your character. Then one way to change your anger is to practice metta.
So there's no need to actually try to make it back to the form.
No. You should not be too theoretical. You have to be practical. What is the use of noticing? The use of noticing is to cut off your bad habits, your unwholesome states. So
by doing that, there wouldn't be a desire to get rid of the unholy state, which is in a way something like aversion.
No, it's not aversion. You know that it's no good for you, so you want to get rid of it. So you practice to get rid of it. Next time, if anger arises, you tarik break. Because there are some people, when anger arises, they seem to enjoy it, get more angry, show their anger, everything. And anger is very bad. People with a lot of anger, they have migraine. Also, if you have listened to my Dhamma talks, I mentioned about one lady. 2 days, she had a very nasty character, a lot of anger. 2 days before she died, Dracula teeth came out, so long. And then 2 days later, when she really died, the teeth disappeared. So that's why I always say we have a soul inside us. And this soul changes according to our character. One of the Buddha's psychic powers is to be able to take out from the top of his head. This is what in Hinduism is called the astral body. To come out from his head. This is what we call Leng Wan, Leng Pun. And this the Buddha calls a mind-made body. So your character determines the type of Leng Wan you have. No? If you have a Deva or a Devi character, then when the ghost look at you, he can see a Deva or a Devi. They won't dare to disturb you. But if you look at you and you see you got a ghost inside, you might think, this person is quite attractive. Can be my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Cause you to have an accident.
So for this Leng Wan exists?
Yeah, in my opinion, it exists. The only thing is, you see, many monks say there is no soul. Because they think soul is something that is permanent, eternal. That is the Christian concept of a soul. I checked the dictionary. The dictionary says the soul is the spiritual part of man, and often assumed to be eternal. It's only assumed, it's not necessarily eternal. So our Buddhist soul is impermanent. It can die and take rebirth again. So when a person dies, if just now when I mentioned, can turn into a ghost. The Sutta says if a person's karma is so bad that he is going to be reborn in hell. When he dies, the beings from hell will come up and drag him down to hell. So what is it they're dragging? They're dragging the soul down to hell. The soul is also a body, a spiritual body. All beings have a body. No, I had a devotee in Kampa. She said the father, a few days before the father died, having dinner, he saw Ngao Tao Ma Min waiting, Gu Tao Be Bin, waiting at the door.